Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another video here in Portugal Chess. I am your host, Mikey, and today we are going to be reviewing two games of a tournament that I played in Spain called the 12th Memorial Enrique Teixidor. Um, it happened a little bit ago, to be honest, and I haven't got really the time to review the games, and I'm going to do it now. Let me just set it up real quick. If I go here, it should changed. Okay. This was a game. This first game, the tournament was actually a nine-round tournament, but and there were two rounds that were classical 90-minute chess with 30 seconds of bonus time. I played this game against a Spanish player that I'm not showcasing the name here because I couldn't set it up today. But we have here an image that describes who he is and an image that is pretty much me. Well, the player is called Javier Solis Sauceda and is playing with the white pieces and opens the game with pawn e4. I don't really know if you guys can hear the sound. I can hear the sound. I don't know if it hears it on the microphone. If it does, it does. But yeah, pawn e4 starts off. I played the normal Caro-Kann defense. He goes knight c3, and I normally play d5. Now this is the main line of the Caro-Kann. You have then d5, d4, and then with pawn takes and knight takes, and then we can play Turkey Tower or the little bit more stylish Karpov variation. But here he surprised me. He played d3, and the engine calls it a mistake. This d3 move is a variation that I had never seen before. It's called the Breyer variation, and it's actually a very interesting. And a lot of people don't know it and don't play it. I that know a little bit of the Caro-Kann main stuff. I've never seen this D3 move. Here, it's given such that I was like out of prep and like just takes and takes just we trade the queens and the position is equal. So instead of doing that, I went for here. I was like out of prep, so I went for g6, which is a kind of a modern system, modern defense setup where you fianchetto your bishop. There's also a system in these lines that is called I don't really know the name, but it's like you play let's just say f3, you usually play h5, and you put the knight like this, the knight here, fianchetto, and you castle. It's like a very, very weird setup that black can go for. Of course, I've tried going for it. I think I even showcased it to you. I think it was in the Merida tournament, but that was a long time ago that I played that system. So I go g6. My opponent tries to develop this very poor light squared bishop. I have fianchetto. He plays h3. This is a move that just prevents normal Caro-Kann stuff, and it's a little bit annoying because now you can't really develop the bishop to g4. I play e6, just accepting the fact that this bishop would be trapped forever. Here they even want e5. I was considering e5 at some point, but I didn't go for it because you just shut the bishop. You just shut the bishop. The agent also likes d4, which also completely shuts the bishop. But yeah, the pawn there is not that bad. But I go e6, completely shutting down my light squared bishop. He goes knight f3, knight 7, bishop g5. Here pinning my knight to the queen, which is a little bit of an annoying move. Not that great for white. Here it would be just better to play like castle. What is this? To just castle or something like that. It goes striking for, and I take my queen out of the pin. This is just a normal move that I made because here the engine wants d4 again. They want h6, kicking the bishop, but I just played queen c7 because that bishop didn't really look that annoying to me. And so I got out a pin and I couldn't really move that knight. He played um, queen d2, and here I was a little bit concerned that if I castled, he would have this bishop h7 move, which in this point black is just completely winning. And what's the problem with it with this bishop h7 move is that this is the perfect setup. Bishop h6, it's the perfect setup to attack fianchettos, because if you trade the bishop, you just get into this really wacky position that is just way worse for black. So then queen d2, and instead of castling, I firstly kick out the bishop, which is a mistake because the engine says that after bishop f4 and e5, you can just retreat the bishop and play a comfortable game as white. He does retreat the bishop, and I do play e5, following the computer line. Here he does take the bishop out, and I shut down the center. Here it is actually a mistake because I completely missed the move. Knight takes on e4, which wins a pawn, because if you take, then you just lose your queen. This was a little bit bad. Gladly, my opponent did not see and played the normal looking move, knight d1. Then I just completely shut down his position with c5. He got with c3 because if he broke, he would have a little bit more of space. Knight c6 developing. He played g4. This is a quite of an interesting move, and here I spent some time because I knew that there was some way of me to win a pawn. So I went queen b6, just following my position. Here the engine wants me to straight away take on c3, and then after knight takes, it says I want a pawn. But of course, taking on c3 is not taking with the knight is not necessary. He could take with the queen, and I mean it just loses tempo. But I don't really know. He's played queen b6, which is draws the game. He goes rook b1. Here I took the pawn, and I don't really know. Hold on. There's something wrong. Let me see if I can fix it. And we are back. There was a little bit of a mistake. I didn't have the full game now, but anyways, we are back. So here after rook b1, I thinked a little bit, and I thought that it would be better if I went for these line d takes on c3 instantly. This of course seems to draw in the game because after knight takes on c3, it's just a dead draw. Of course, you win a pawn, and it's still not that easy. For white. So he takes with the queen, so I don't win the pawn. But now I just completely win the pawn, and yeah, white's position is just completely falling apart. So queen b2, and I go queen a6, just setting up this discovery check madness that really is material. He instantly castles, just getting away from the danger, and I go bishop e6. That targets again. That targets this pawn. He defends it with the rook. Here I just simply castle, and I am just very much enjoying my position. Now he goes knight e3, and it's in this point it's the 20th move of the game, and it's in this point that I just start thinking. The position is very nice. We're up a pawn, and now we just have to convert. Some ideas that could occur would would just develop the rooks, maybe bring them up. What the fuck is, I don't know. I hope it didn't screw up the recording. No. Some ideas could be bringing the rook to the middle of the board. Of also just, I don't really know. Just maybe f5. Rook c8 looks fine to me. Queen d8, just trying to revamp a little bit because the queen here is not that good. Here I started seeing a little bit of tactics. I started seeing that if I played f4 and if he took, my first thinking was, okay, I could take with the bishop, even take with the knight, or maybe, not okay. No, we cannot take with the rook, obviously, but we can take with the knight, and after, if knight takes, we just take with the bishop, and we have a strong bishop in this diagonal. Or even with the rook, which just targets this knight that is defended, but of course there are always some stuff we can see. But I also was seeing that this queen and this rook were looking rather uncomfortable because they were in the same diagonal as my light square, my dark square. If you can, bishop. So I saw the move that I saw was f5, which I played after a little bit of thinking. I saw it, and my opponent took my pawn instantly. F takes on f5, a huge blunder because now I can sacrifice my pawn on e4, the top computer line, which targets the queen, targets the rook. It also takes a name in this knight right here, and there's still game to play. The engine says that it's 3.5 plus 4 black, but here the game is just considerably over. He slides the queen over so he doesn't lose it, and now I can immediately take the rook. But the thing is that the rook is not really that important, so I take it instantly. Here the computer was even suggesting me to take the knight on f5, which is not, it's not on f5, it's on f3. Now the engine is oh no, it's because it's a pawn move. I was seeing immediately take the rook, because after takes we can just take the knight and attack. Of course he would have a strong bishop. He takes my bishop, but I also calculated this line that I would take the knight, I would threaten another bishop, and my bishop has still not been recaptured. So if he takes that pawn, I can simply retreat in my bishop, and that is exactly what happened. Knight c4 tries to attack my queen. I just slide it over to b5. He goes knight d6, attacking my queen again. I just slide it to b6, and now rook there, just trying to pressure that pawn. Knight e4, attacking the queen top engine line. Here he retreats, and I was seeing some lines where I would take that bishop, but nothing really resonated with me. So I took the free pawn, and it is actually a little bit of a mistake, but not because of a3, because of queen e1, because it wins a piece. Not defended well. And keep in mind that white, despite being a full rook down, white still has this monster bishops lining up the position, and this annoying knight taking some squares out of my king. a3, I jump with the knight to try to alleviate the pressure and trade the bishops. He doesn't go for it. He goes knight c4, attacking my queen again. I just slide it back to d8, pressuring this pawn, but losing a pawn in the process. Not really losing it because I can trade, but I actually saw it here that I don't really know why didn't I take it. Oh, I guess I was a little bit frightened of this move rook b7, which just infiltrates and is obviously a little bit annoying. But even after here, we could go like bishop here seems good. Bishop d6 draws the game. Let me see, bishop d6. Oh, a smart move. It just completely wears down everything. Even taking with check is still a draw because now he has a bunch of pressure being made in my position. Okay, so rook takes b4. I go knight there, which still loses the pawn, but yeah, that still loses the pawn. Now I just slide my queen over one square, and this is a losing. The engine doesn't really like it because of queen b3, because it just protects the rook and puts the queen in this open diagonal. And if he takes the knight, lower check, but he doesn't see it. He plays knight d6, which was an annoying move, I must say, because I mean that knight on d6 is very annoying. Queen d8, which also completely loses to queen b3 check, as we discussed it, because now there's really nothing I can do, because if queen b3 check. I just slided my king here. Knight here is gonna be a lot of troubles. He finds queen b3 check, and now at this stage the game's pretty much drawn. I go king h7, king h7, because if I went king h8, this would have been a royal fork, and I would lose the game immediately. So I went king h7. He responded with knight f7, which is not the correct move. I even thought it was, because it was very, very annoying. But the correct move was bishop takes on c6, and after queen takes, rook takes on g7, sacrificing the rook, because if I'm not wrong, there is a perpetual. So not the engine is selecting bishop takes on a8, and g5 on the board. And I guess by some miracle the game is drawn. I don't really. Okay, of course not with this. But by some miracle, bishop takes on c6 draws the game. But of course, wasn't really that clear. So he goes knight there, which was very annoying because there's a bunch of pressure at my king. I go queen f6, just trying to kick the knight out. At which point he just takes my bishop, and here, if I'm being honest, I took with the queen, and this doesn't really look good because that knight there is not doing much, and trading it for that monster bishop don't really seem the right thing to do. But anyways, he traded and won a piece back. But here I found queen c1 check. That makes him not lose a piece. I saw this at a distance where I saw that this trade won him a piece, but I had queen c1 check to win the piece back. Here d4, just trying to secure some things. Now we have queen f6 back because I really want to trade to take that knight off that square. He goes queen d5, which the engine doesn't really appreciate. It likes more taking actually the knight out of that square. Well, it's a pawn, but now queen infiltrates, and the Eval bar says it's completely winning for black, but I'm being honest, this doesn't really look like an easy position to play. So after e5, I couldn't see the right move. The right move here is to trade, to sacrifice a pawn to then get some attack going on. You have played rook g8, and after queen f4, threatening, here check, and mate, not really mate because the bishop can block. Oh no, of course that if I like played let's say, I don't know, queen here, it would be mate. After here, takes, and no, there's no mate. Yeah, there's no mate, but it's still not easy here. Yeah, okay, there wasn't anything that my opponent had. Maybe a little bit later in the game. Okay, here we still shuffled a little bit more of the pieces. Here there was a moment where the engine thought that I was completely lost, but here it was just mate in 12. Did I found it? No, I took the free pawn. It takes. And here I just slowly convert. Here he has something to fight for, but this just completely hangs a rook. I win it, despite him giving a check. Now there's nothing he can do, and I just convert this endgame like a magician. You may see now a showcase of why I'm not a very good person. Here I do a little bit of a ladder before taking that pawn and trading the queens to get 2 rooks against 1 king, and here I just start completely humiliating my opponent. And after 69 clever boy moves of play, black wins by checkmate, and so I lost. Oh my god, I won this game against an opponent rated 1481 classical rating. After this brief analysis, I found the game to be a very well played game. There were a moment there that I hung the pawn. Let me see if I can find it. Was it or yep, it was around here where he could take, and I didn't really see this one, because after this there's just nothing that you can do. You're just gonna have to no, not play f4. You're just gonna have to play a pawn down, which is not good by any meanings. But anyways, let's get ourselves to the next game. And we are back to the last round of this panel of the classical tournament. I could showcase you what happened after this game, considering the tournament. But yeah, we're up to the final round. I'm playing with the white pieces, and I open the game with d4, the queen's pawn opening. My opponent responds with d5. I go with the queen's gambit. Yes, you can hate on me in the comments with a lot of truth, because the queen's gambit. Because after I played c4, my testosterone levels went down 160%. Plays the decline. I play knight f3 and knight f6. This is the one that I like to play, because this with bishop here is the traditional variation of the queen's gambit decline, and also one of the only things that I know how to play in the queen's gambit at all. Bishop e7, and I go for a Catalan setup, which Stockfish doesn't really love, but of course I don't really know how to play the queen's gambit decline, so I just went with this Catalan setup. He does an fianchetto in the other side. I firstly trade my dark square bishop because I wanted to put all my pawns on dark squares like this. Yep. Yeah. Stockfish isn't liking it because I temporarily sacrifice the pawn on c4. The black castled, I castled, and now we have knight e7, and this is a losing mistake because now I can take this pawn and get a slight advantage. I just go knight e2. I was considering either knight d2 or queen c2. Queen c2 is the second best engine line. I just went knight d2. I had rook e8, and I traded the pawns and played queen a4 because I was seeing that if black were to do nothing, let's just say like h3, I would have this interesting move that would win me a piece. I guess it doesn't really win me a piece because they can just retreat. Here he plays a6, which is fine. I go bishop h3, trying to win that knight. He just goes b5, completely stopping it. Here Stockfish even says it's a mistake because of queen going back to c2. And here was probably a big mistake that I played queen a5. Stockfish doesn't find it to be awful. I mean, it does. The Valbar is now better for black. But the best option here was to just retreat the queen and appreciate the queen side mayhem that I had created and made impossible. Now we have c5, and this is just completely. Now we trade the queens. I go with the knight here. I thought it was a clever idea going with the knight here because the knight in this square looks very tasteful, but the reality is that after c4 and bishop takes, so the knight doesn't get relocated, and knight there, this knight is just completely bad here on c5, which was surprising to me because it seems that the knight is very interesting. We have rook c7, rook e1, and the bishop going back, and now we see why the knight is not that good. I played g4, anticipating on passant, in which point I would probably just take with the knight. We have rook b8, knight going. Rook b8 actually is a blunder. It draws the game because of a4. Now, did I saw it a4? I did not. I saw it a3, but not a4. a4 looks just like a very normal move. You just want to trade down some pawns. But the thing is that now he has this this C pass pawn that he has had since the beginning, and that's why this knight going for here was not that good of an idea, because now he has a pass pawn, and I have to be careful with that pass pawn. Let me just go knight back here. He plays himself a5, and I play e3. I saw this line, but what I didn't saw was this killer move bishop c6, which now Stockfish says that it was a mistake. I don't really know why, because I have an idea that it said that it was not a good move. But here, to keep an advantage, I have to find knight a6, which I don't find. I play rook a2, and I'm actually very, very surprised that I didn't found knight h6, because it's a basic, I'm gonna be honest, this is a basic knight fork. The engine wants this for black. This is just a completely basic knight fork, which I didn't see, and I was actually very, very surprised with this bishop c6 move. I genuinely thought that it was a mistake, but it turns out that it is, because of this basic nine fork that I just didn't see, which was very strange. Now I play rook a2 and it's just game over, because now he slides the rook there, I take the pawn, he takes, and we just get into a little bit of mayhem. But now he can successfully win another rook on my pawn, and now there's just nothing that we can do. This rook has to come off here. It can go here, but then there's no way to stop this, just going here. And the position is completely lost, because now he has another passed pawn. But here was actually very sad. This was a classical game, keep in mind, and I resigned, obviously, here, that I didn't really saw this basic knight forks. And I'm gonna be honest, there are some moves that you make in these classical games, and just normal games in general, where you like see the moves after the game, or you just see the moves after you've played another stuff, or you just don't see. And there are some moves that you just never see. Like, I never saw it. This basic knight fork, I never even considered it. But yeah, it's basic knight fork, and my opponent, it doesn't really say here how much he was rated. I can check. I think he was like 1700, and he played well the game, I'm gonna be honest. But like, yeah, knight a6 is a basic knight fork, which wins you a rook, and not this, and completely wins you the game if you think about it, because now you have a passed pawn. Maybe not playing like this, because then you can like cover the pawn. Still have to be careful, but you have like a piece up. You can initiate some trades, maybe something around the lines of this. Yeah, this is just completely losing, because of some reason. Even sacrificing both pawns work. Yeah, because it's completely losing, and I even have an extra piece. I have no idea. Oh, how did I win? I think it's because of the rook. And yeah, so actually looking back, it was not a good game. I don't know. Okay, now we're seeing the game review, and we're gonna see how much my review was, because why not? Okay, so this game was actually very good by me. Not that good. It wasn't great, but I feel like it was just. I completely missed this knight fork. Is the only move that wins, but it's kind of an easy move to find, because you just get a rook up and you have a very, very good position. As I said, you can initiate some trades. But yeah, this is like completely winning, and it's a shame really that I didn't saw this, because this game was actually very big, because my opponent was 1700. But I really don't really mind losing this game. I won another one, and yeah, I was a little bit, now that I see that there was something that I didn't see, I was a little bit sad, but it's okay, because we have to keep moving forward. I'm gonna show you guys the results of the tournament. Okay, let me see, where am I? if I'm not wrong, I got, was it 4 points? Okay, yes, it was. It was, I think, a 9 round tournament. No, it was an 8 round tournament. So to get 4 points is fine. Here, let me click on myself. Everything matters. We played with a slightly worse rating performance. Here, some of the games were like not good. I lost 2 games, the first 2 games. Of course, then I managed to recover a little bit. But overall, I didn't manage to win against this guy. And it's kind of annoying that I missed such a basic like Night Fork. But it's okay. We move. And yeah, I think this is all I really have to say. No, it's not. I just remembered now. And the thing I wanted to show you is that the San Classical Internal Championship of 2024-25 will be beginning in this weekend. And it will be classical. It will not be 90-minute games. It will be only 30 minutes, which is a little bit bad because I really enjoy longer games. But yes, there will be, and I will be very happy to be playing. I really hope to come up with a great result. I hope that I know that I'm not like the favorite to win or to get a good spot or anything, but I really hope to make a good performance. And also, if I can get a good performance, I will be called up to play in the Portugal Chess Cup by teams. Yeah, it's kind of what it is. For the Sen B team, I'm currently obligated participating in the squad of the B team, and I really want to get called up to play. Um, the games of the cup happen 14 December, so yeah, there's still a little bit left to do and a lot to evolve. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.